Alrighty, welcome back to Final Fantathon and our Let's Play of Final Fantasy III. It is so good to have everyone back here. Oh man, it has been a week. I have so much to talk about, and I'm so excited for today. I'm excited to get back into this dungeon. I'm excited to do double Final Fantasy VII later. Thanks to everyone who supported double Final Fantasy VII. I did it kind of as a meme for our Christmas meme event, and everyone was really happy and excited about it and gave it a lot of support, so thank you guys. I'm really enjoying it, so we're going to keep it going. Maybe even after the Christmas event, we'll keep it going and finish the whole playthrough, because everyone seems to be enjoying it a lot, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It's a very, very unique challenge, one that I've never really had before. Like, the challenge that it gives me is much different, because normally with Final Fantasy VII challenges, it's like I just have to figure out how to abuse the game in the right way to win. But this challenge is more about me being able to do both at once and do all the calculations in my head and realize what's going on both screens and be able to multitask. So it's really, really fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. I have a lot to talk about today. We're just gonna grind for a bit because we need to get our HP up. When we lost last time, we actually were doing okay against the boss. Like, we have the ribbons for bad breath and we have the damage, but because she gets 4 turns, I can't. There's like sometimes where I just can't survive, and like my white mage has 10 Kurahas and 18 Kuragas. So, like, as long as I can survive, I could just spam Kuraga and probably be fine. But I just need more max health so that I don't get one-shot by her 4-turn ridiculousness. So, we're just going to work on getting our HP up a bit, and then we'll go through the dungeon again. But yeah, so I have something I got to say. I got to get off my mind. But before I do that, I have an early Christmas gift for you guys. I've been talking a lot of smack about Final Fantasy 15 over the course of Final Fantathon, because I personally don't like it, but you know, that's just my personal opinion, and we happen to talk about my opinion because I'm playing. But you know, I feel bad for the Final Fantasy 15 fans. You know, they have to go through 14 games of me garbage canning Final Fantasy 15. So a little early Christmas gift for you Final Fantasy 15 fans. Here you go. Here's the shirt today. This is for you. This is for you 15 fans out there. I'm wearing this for you. So there you go. Just know I'm thinking about you while I'm trashing your game. Okay, so listen. Here's the big story for today, okay? So yesterday I am uploading a video. It's called "The PSN Store is Being Taken Over," and it's about poopy PSN games. I've uploaded like 20 videos at this point about me just yelling at the PlayStation Store for being terrible. And one of my biggest gripes with the PlayStation Store is that there's no quality control. They just allow anything to go up on the store, which on its own isn't the biggest problem, because like, some people think that games are games. Like, no matter how bad they are, no matter how good they are, it should just, you know, Sony should just accept everything. More games is more games, right? No one's forcing you to buy these bad games. So, what's the problem with just having a million games on the store? You know, let all the shovelware go onto the store, who cares, right? And that's kind of the way Steam is, where like Steam just accepts almost anything, bad or good, because it just makes a big store, and then you can just pick what to buy, right? So at its core, I don't have a problem with Sony accepting bad games onto the store, right? Here's the problem. The PlayStation Store is complete garbage. It's not organized well, first of all. So you can't, it's hard to get through all the shovelware to find the good stuff. because it's not organized well. Second off, they consistently put terrible shovelware on sale on their special sales and sell it as if it's good. They'll say like picks of the week and they'll put some awful game on sale. So they're actively promoting terrible games on the store. That's a problem. In addition to that, Sony has gone on record multiple times by saying they want to be the quality, not quantity company. You know, like their whole spiel is like we have good games. So I don't know why their PlayStation Store doesn't reflect that, right? So I've always had a big problem with the PlayStation Store, and I've made many, many videos about how terrible the games are, how terrible the store works, how it's hard to purchase things, how it glitches out all the time, all these different things, right? So yesterday, I'm serious, I'm dead serious, I was actually clicking the button to make this new PSN Store video live. Like I was pressing the Go Public button, and I hear a little bloop, my Discord goes off, right? So I'm like, okay, hold on, let me not make this public, you know, took my hand off the mouse, scrolled on over to Discord, opened up Discord. Somebody had revealed, I read right, boys, to reveal. Somebody had posted a link to a article stating that Sony had removed Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store. This is true. If you go on the PlayStation Store right now, you cannot purchase Cyberpunk. They removed it. Sony removed it from the store. It's gone. And if you bought it digitally, you can get a refund. Right now, it's a full 100% refund for anyone that bought it digitally. You just ask for the refund and you automatically get it. So, my first reaction was like, wow, Sony actually doing a thing, that's cool. And then I flip over to my tab and I realize I'm about to make a video public showing off some of the worst the PlayStation Store has to offer. And I'm like, how did this happen? How has it been years that we've been playing games like My Name is Mayo, which is legitimately a game where you click 10,000 times and then the game is over and you get a platinum trophy. That's on the store. Like, and granted, that game is $1, but that's not the point, because there's plenty of games on there that are much more expensive that are also trash. But this game takes about 30 minutes. It might sound like clicking 10,000 times takes a long time. It doesn't. It takes about 30 minutes. You play for 30 minutes, you click 10,000 times, and then the game is over, and there's nothing left. There's no other content. That's just all it is. 30 minutes of clicking. And that's okay to have on the store. In fact, they've put it in sales before. But yet, the $60 big budget AAA game with Keanu Reeves in it is moderately unplayable on the PlayStation. I mean, it's bad, okay? Don't get me wrong. But it's playable. It's just very bad. That is going to be updated to be fixed soon, gets removed off the PlayStation Store. That, like, blows my mind, dude. Yes, there is a My Name is Mayo 2. We played it this week. For the meme week. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? How are they so blind that they've just let the work? I mean, I've played broken games on the store. What is it? I Am Bread. That game, like 30% of people that play that game on PlayStation, it doesn't work. The audio doesn't work, and it's like so laggy you can't even play it. And I've gone on forums and been like, hey, is this like this for everyone else? And they're like, yeah, like 30% of people that download it, it just doesn't work, and it's never been fixed, and it's still on the store, and you can still buy it. And that one isn't even, like, guaranteed to give you a refund. You'd have to, like, ask Sony and probably send them something and be like, look, it's broken. But Cyberpunk, which does work for some people, like has bugs, but a lot of people have gotten through the game just fine, and some only had like visual bugs and stuff, gets completely removed off the store. Like, you cannot purchase it. The biggest game of the last several months, maybe even the biggest game of 2020, except maybe the remake in Smash, is just gone. And that just I couldn't believe it. Like, wow, they actually did. The crazy people actually did. And in the article, this is what got me. In the article, they quote Sony, because they asked Sony, like, why did you remove it? The quote from Sony is, and I quote, strives to ensure a high level of customer satisfaction. That's what they said. They said the PSN store strives to ensure a high level of customer satisfaction. That's why we removed it. And I was like, like, where have they been? Where have they been the last 6 years of the PlayStation Store just being total garbage? So I don't know. It was just great. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I still can't believe it. And everyone's talking about it. And I don't even know what to make of it. Like, I don't know, man. Pretty weird. Yeah, I mean, I guess part of it is, like, people care about Cyberpunk, and there's more people to get mad. But it just makes me laugh how little they actually follow what they say they do, Like, they did, they should have just come out and said, like, well, a lot of people are mad about it. But instead, they come out and they say, well, we've always strived for only the best of games on the PlayStation Store. Like, that just, no. No, you don't. No, just be honest. Just be honest and say, a lot of people are mad about Cyberpunk and it was bad for PR. Instead of this, like, false narrative. No, we've always, whenever we find a game that isn't up to snuff on the PlayStation Store, we've always made sure to keep only the highest quality of games. Meanwhile, we've actually spent a whole 2 weeks exploring the best the PlayStation Store has to offer. Yeah, you literally can't even buy stuff. The PlayStation 3 store has an invisible purchase button. If you haven't seen that video yet, check it out. I uploaded a video a couple weeks ago where my PS3 store purchase button was invisible, and I thought I couldn't buy stuff. But I could, it was just invisible. So, yeah. And yeah, it wasn't completely Sony's decision either. A lot of it was the fact that CD Projekt Red was already doing refunds. But my point is, they didn't come out and say, well, CD Projekt Red is already asking for refunds, so we just did it on our console too. No, they come out and they're like, well, us at Sony have always had only the best games on the PlayStation Store. Which makes me laugh. That's how these companies are. Any ability anything they can twist to make it seem like a good thing instead of a bad thing. Because they could have come out and been like, you know what? CD Projekt Red released a broken game on our console and we let them. Our bad. Or, well, CD Projekt Red is asking for refunds, so we're taking it off the store. Or, well, it was bad for PR, so we took it off the store. No. It's always put on your suit and, well, the PlayStation Store has always been quality over quantity. We only take the best games. Yeah. Just funny. That's the way it is. And also, we got to add on to our story from last week, because last week I talked about how, or I think it was last week. It might have not been during Final Fantathon, but we talked about how, you know, people just. Actually, I don't think we did. Did we talk about the reviewer that got attacked for saying that Cyberpunk 2077 gave her seizures? Did we talk about that during Final Fantathon, or did we talk about that this week before Friday? Do you guys remember? So I don't want to say the same story twice. It was this week. It wasn't during Fantathon. Okay, so long story short, a reviewer for 2077 said that the game was good, but it gave her a seizure. It was just a fact. It was just a fact of the matter. She's like, I had a seizure while playing the game. Here is this info for whoever needs it, for people who have seizures, for CD Projekt Red to potentially give a fix. Here are the facts. I had a seizure while playing the game. Also, great game. And she gave it a good rating. And she got annihilated by the CD Projekt Red superfans who thought that she was talking bad about the game, and went so far as to send her videos trying to give her a seizure. Sending her, you know, videos that can activate epilepsy, which is assault, by the way. Like, that's actually a crime. You can't do that. Not that anyone would want to do that, but that's a crime to do that. And so we were talking about how, like, some games have these super fan bases that are just, and what blows my mind is the game wasn't even out yet. But they had just already decided it was going to be the greatest game ever made, and anyone that had any other opinion needed to be punished. And that's just insane. I mean, I can't even believe... Yeah, maybe Super Mario World means a lot to you, and listening to people talk bad about Super Mario World makes you get angry. But the game wasn't even out yet. So these people are just delusional, and it makes me realize why games like new sports games and stuff can be just crap. Like, they could just be the same crap from last year again, because you have these fan bases that are just committed. No matter how bad a game is, even if the game isn't out yet, doesn't matter. Like, they're just committed to that, and that's why stuff like Fallout 76 can happen, and why Bethesda can release a $100 a year subscription service to Fallout 76 that basically makes the game playable, and people will actually buy it. Because these fan bases are just, like, delusional and blind, and just buy the game and pre-order the games and buy them, and just, this is why. Like, and we were just talking about, like, how far the gaming industry has gone now, to the point where, like, they can just do anything they want, and they have their core fan base that's never really going to leave, and a lot of those people don't really read the news and read any of the problems that these companies get into, like with worker crunch or, allegations towards the company. They just see the game on the shelf and they buy it, and that's it. And I can't blame them for that. I was like that too when I was a kid. I didn't care about the news of EA. I just wanted the next game, But it's just interesting to look at the gaming industry and where it's gone and everything. But, this adds to that story, because these people were so blindly allegiant to Cyberpunk 77 before it even came out. And now, not only is it unplayable on certain consoles, but even CD Projekt Red themselves has admitted that it's not good. So now what do you say? Like, when the company themselves say the game is bad, are you still going to go online and be like, anyone that doesn't give this game a 10 out of 10 deserves to be punished? when even the company themselves is like, yeah, we screwed up. And when Sony is legitimately giving every single person who bought the game digitally a refund. Like, wait, where is your argument now? So it's just interesting. It's interesting to see, and I wonder when they, you know, update the game and make it playable and complete, if they're just going to jump right back on the bandwagon and be like, see guys, it's the best game ever. So it's, we'll see, I guess. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's just interesting. And it's interesting where gaming has come to now, and in EA, more than any company, you know, does this stuff where they take advantage of the core audience. I think probably the best example ever is Star Wars Battlefront. It was Battlefront, right? I'm not super keen on Star Wars games. It was Star Wars Battlefront 2, right? Was the one that everyone was mad about. So that game came out and everybody was super angry because it had loot boxes and it was super monetizable, and to even get like some of the main cast, like Darth Vader and stuff, you had to play for like hundreds of hours, and so everyone got really mad at how EA monetized the game. Now that's not a surprise, because EA always monetizes their games like crazy. But what proves my point so much is that when it got so bad, like at first they didn't do anything. At first they were like, who cares if people are mad? It's Star Wars, people are buying it. We made our money, get wrecked, right? But it got so bad that, like, there was that Reddit comment that had the most downvotes of all time. There were, like, death threats being sent to EA and just all this, like, crazy stuff. It was starting to get to the point where it was hitting, like, mainstream news, like how angry people were about the game, right? So EA had to do something. So what did EA do? They removed the monetization completely. It was gone. And they said they were going to redo it. And then all the news went away. And then they brought it back. And people still play the game. And that's it. I mean, is that not proof that that's just kind of where we are at this point? Like, it's not that necessarily they don't care, it's that the core audience of these companies and these IPs, definitely, like specifically, are so great and so blindly loyal that they don't need to worry about not making the money off the games. You know? That's not, like, a problem. If they make the IP and they make it flashy enough, they're going to make their money. You know, another example is that MMA game that came out that had ads in the game. And people were upset about that because they had done it previously. And everyone got mad and they took them out. And then they make a follow-up MMA game and they do it again. And they make some money and then people get mad again and then they take them out. Like, you see it's not like they're learning from their mistakes or they're trying new things. Like, because people make that excuse sometimes, like, oh, they were just trying it to see what the fan base thought of it, right? Like, no, they went into that MMA game knowing that people were going to hate it, knowing that they had done it before and it got so bad that they had to remove them, but they knew that the core audience didn't care. So they released it with the ads, made their money off the core audience, and then when the, I guess, semi-core audience got mad, they removed them. And then that's it. And then they move on. You know? it's, you know, and that's where we're at now with the gaming industry, where they can just pretty much do what they want because A, the gaming industry is big enough, and B, their core audience and the audience of their whatever IP that they've purchased is big enough to where they can just do what they want and make their money, and then later kind of put a band-aid on the PR. And I think all of that has led up to the games being $70 now. And we talked about that before as well. That is kind of the final boss of this discussion, right? It's all led up to this. Now it's like, well, I wonder if we could make the game $70 if they'd buy them. Because of course they won't. And, you know, they can come up with the same excuses they have for years and years and years, where like, oh, it's inflation, and oh, games are so expensive to make now, and all that's been disproven, and that doesn't mean anything, and these companies are making more money than they've ever made before, so it's not like, oh, boo-hoo. You know, but they can say something like that, and the general audience and the core audience are just going to kind of be like, well, I guess we're paying $70 now. And the audience that's mad about it being $70, you know, what are we going to do? So, I wonder where it's all going to go. I wonder if we can get enough of the core audience to care about this stuff, to change things. You know, I wonder if it's always just going to be, if we're just going to keep going down this path where they keep doing what they want until it finally hits a breaking point. I don't think the $70 thing is going to be the breaking point. For a number of reasons, but plenty of people have already purchased plenty of games at $70. Not to mention that pre-orders and stuff and special editions and whatnot have been $80, $90, $100, $150, $250, and people have been buying those for years. So I don't think the $70 thing is really going to affect... It's going to affect a lot of people, but it's not going to affect enough to, you know, cause a boycott, riot, make them lower the price or anything. But yeah, you know, I do wonder, how far are we going to get? I guess only time will tell. But yeah, it's interesting to look at. Yeah, it's pretty insane. They've come up with this whole like inflation argument, but that inflation argument has been for years and years and years before inflation was really a problem. But like, all you gotta do is take 2 seconds to look up the fact that companies are making more money than they've ever made before, and the video game industry is bigger than it's ever been before, to realize that it's all BS. Like, it takes you 2 seconds to realize, like, wait a second, they're making more money than they've ever made. Well, what would inflation have anything to do with it? If they could make these games when they were making a quarter of the money they're making now, then they could make the games now for the same price. That's not how things work. You know? That's not how that works. And there's many other arguments against it too, like the fact that video game prices have already increased past $60. Most games cost more than $60 to enjoy. But we don't even have to get into that, because to be honest, just the fact that the video game industry is bigger than it's ever been, and these companies, especially the CEOs, are taking home giant fat paychecks every day, tells you enough that it doesn't need to be $70. But yeah, there's plenty of other things you can get into, like, hey, when's the last time a game was actually $60? Like, all of the core games that companies make the most money off of, like Call of Duty and Destiny and Halo and everything, they're not $60. None of them are $60. They're $60 to get started. They're $60 to open up the disc or download the game. It's all profit from there. You got battle passes, you got DLC, you got pre-orders, you got special editions, you got DLC down the road, you got remasters and HD remakes and more ports, and you know, it's very rare that a company only makes the $60 off of you. So and some people, you know, you might be saying, you know, Death, I don't pay $60 for games. I always wait till they're on sale or whatever, but like they're still making money off you. Like you know, if you buy a game, if someone buys a game at $60 and then buys $20 more of content and then sells it, and then you buy it at $30, and then you buy, because you bought it at $30, you're like, I'll get the battle pass.
What am I gonna do?
Then like they've made their money. And if it's digital, then they made their money regardless because it's digital. It didn't cost, you know. So yeah, they make more than $60 off a game now. That's just the way it is. Think of the 101 Debo. So yeah, it's an interesting topic, and we'll probably keep talking about it in the future and see where things go. And I'm really glad that at least for now, the new consoles seem to be understand. Like, I was actually kind of surprised. I don't know about you guys. I was a bit surprised by the new console prices, and I think maybe it's because Sony and Xbox realized that they need to get the box in your house, and then they can make a lot of money off of you, but they need to get the box in your house first. It's more of an investment. Like, they could have sold the PS5 for $600, but getting it in your house for cheaper makes them more money in the end, right? But I was pleasantly surprised about the prices of the PS5 and the Xbox, especially given the cheaper versions. Now, the whole $70 for a game thing is still rough for me, and I'm sure a lot of you. But, you know, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where the new consoles go. The biggest issue is just buying them, which, you know, I don't even want to talk about because I'm still upset about it. I'm slightly salty, okay? Give me a break. I'm kind of salty about the whole PS5 thing. But, yeah, I get the only thing, like, I understand that it's hard for them to, like, make enough, and it's hard for them to sell them online without scalpers getting to them, and it's not entirely their fault, right? But it does frustrate me a bit that every time I open up, like, a new video game news website or, you know, feed, I always get something where Sony is like, you guys aren't going to believe this. The PS5 has sold so many. This is the biggest PS5 deal. This is the biggest console sell of all time. You're not gonna believe how much money we're making. It's insane. We've sold so many, and everyone's just like, how many actual people got those? Like, you sold a lot of robots, but like, what about people? You know, so that's a bit annoying. I wish they would wait until. Like, just wait until I can go to a Walmart and see a PS5 on the shelf. Then brag about how many you sold, okay? But right now, it's more just salt in the wound whenever I see one of those. You're not going to believe how much money we're making, guys. Meanwhile, I'm, like, refreshing the page still. Like, can I have one, please? So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. You know, I'm about to say something. Okay, I'm gonna say this unironically, but you guys can go ahead and laugh in the chat, okay? Because I know it's gonna happen. Let me finish, but you can laugh when I'm done. Maybe because the new consoles are so powerful, and according to the stuff that came out before the consoles came out, they said that there's less, like, they can put as much as they want in the games now. There's no boundaries, right? Because of the way that the consoles are, they could just make like infinite worlds now. There's no boundaries, there's no limits, right? Maybe that means they'll put more in the games and not have to do DLC after the fact. Yeah, I know. It's just a thought. I don't know. How's it going, Mark Fu? Yeah, no.
Pretty good.
We're looking down the barrel of $70 games that still have battle passes, still have day one DLC, still have microtransactions, and still add more and more onto the game as it progresses, and still has special editions and definitive editions and everything else. That's what we're looking down the barrel of. And I don't know. Can't say I like what I'm looking at. Do you think maybe I don't do stand up, I do sit down. Do you think maybe the $70 price tag, like, do you think the companies will see that because the games are $70, people spend less on microtransactions in general? Or do you think it's not going to matter? Like, let's say the average consumer buys a game for $60 and spends $20 on microtransactions eventually before they put the game down. Let's just say that's the average. Do you think the average will switch to like $70 for the game and $10 for microtransactions? Or do you think it'll still be 70-20? Do you think people, like, when they buy microtransactions, they actually think to themselves, I purchased this for this much money, so I'm willing to put this much more into it? Or do you think people are just blind and just spend $20 because $20? You think it'll go up? That'll be 70-30? I don't know. I feel like usually I take that into account. I know more than once, when I've gotten a deal on a game, I've spent more on the game. Like, if I buy a game for cheaper than it's supposed to be, if it's on sale or whatever, I put more thought into maybe purchasing, like, a DLC with it. Whereas if I buy it for $60, I almost always spend no more money on the game until I, really like it. And even then, sometimes I won't. Yo, Dragon Slayer, thank you so much for the 16 months. Appreciate it. How are we doing on HP? We've got about... I think Luna's gotten about 140 HP so far. I think his HP was like 2... Oh, no, wait. It might have been lower than that. We'll see. We are getting some HP, though. So we're getting somewhere here. Yeah, see, that's what I'm wondering. Like, maybe down the line, they realize, like, oh, shoot, if games are $70, people are spending less on microtransactions. And then they bring it back down to 60. Kind of like with, with console releases, they do the same thing. Where, they sell it at a certain price until they realize that the amount of people not buying it because of the price outweighs the people buying it, and then they lower the price. So maybe they do the same with games. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's weird. The $70 game thing is weird because, honestly, I know more people that buy games used than new now. Like, whenever I poll my audience, and say, like, how many of you guys just wait until games go on sale to buy them? That's the majority, it seems. And granted, my audience is a bit skewed because we're, like, older game fans and RPG fans and people that don't mind waiting. We're not exactly the buy Call of Duty the day it comes out so we can get high on the leaderboard squad. Like, that's not really us, so you know, that doesn't really fit. But, like, at least for us, it seems like a lot of people I know do not buy $60 games, you know, unless it's specifically a game they've wanted for over a year and they pre-ordered it. Other than that, they wait, you know. And it's weird because I would have said, like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being that group, by the way. Like, I don't know, I feel like me saying that makes it sound like that's a bad thing or something. Like, I bought the $70 new Call of Duty game for $70, okay? So, LOL in the chat, I'm a loser. Okay, so it's not it's okay if you're that person, okay? I'm that person. But it seems like most of the people that I talk to, they don't buy...
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. They don't buy games at full price anymore. Unless it's, you know, maybe 1 or 2 games a year. But... So I don't know how much the $70 thing is really gonna fly. Yeah, and a lot of people have a big backlog of games. A lot of people just play multiplayer games, you know, like a lot of people play free-to-play multiplayer games, League of Legends, CS:GO, you know, a lot of people have those games that they're competitive with. That's the way I am, by the way, if you're curious. That's the way I am. Any game that I'm competitive in is usually like a free-to-play multiplayer type game, and then, you know, games that are $60 I buy later and just kind of play casually, you know. I don't think I've bought a $60 game to be competitive in it, ever. I bought the new Call of Duty at $70 for Zombies, because I'm a Zombies player. I guess you could call that competitive, sort of, because I try to keep up with what's going on in the community. I bought the Final Fantasy VII Remake day one, so I could be one of the first people to play through it. I guess you could say that's like being there on the spot, right? But other than that, most games I don't try to be there on the spot. I usually wait to see how it goes and see how people like it, and then I buy it later. Yeah, there's competitive games with a price tag. That's my point. Like, some people buy Call of Duty day one so they can be the first people on multiplayer and get good at the game and then compete in it. Either on the leaderboards or be an actual competitive player of the game. And that's where I could see people buying games day one at $70. But most people I know aren't that. You know, even if they do like Call of Duty, they're not necessarily trying to be the #1 Call of Duty player in the world or get on the leaderboards or anything like that. They're just playing it to play it. So, seeing a game at $70, they're not going to be like, I have to have that now. They're going to say, I'll wait. And that just seems to be the general consensus. And then, you know, people that are competitive in the competitive space, like a lot of games that are... I mean, even just looking around on Twitch, like, what are the games that people need to have right now if they're trying to be the popular streamer or try to be a competitive player in a game that actually has money attached to it, right? Like, Fortnite, free. Minecraft, almost free. League of Legends, free. CS:GO, free? I think now. Used to cost money. I think it's free now. Valorant is free, I think. Overwatch is pretty cheap now. Genshin Impact is free. Like, you know what I mean? Like, most of these games are... Most of these super popular quote-unquote competitive games are free-to-play models. Or soon-to-be free-to-play models. Or cheap-to-play models, you know? So, I mean, even like, I don't know how much Among Us is. Even Fall Guys was not full price, I think. It wasn't Fall Guys like $40? Mostly because it was indie. But still, Rocket League is now free to play. So a lot of these games that get really big and really massive and have huge fan bases and have competitive scenes end up doing the free-to-play route eventually. So that's kind of interesting. Meanwhile, Call of Duty and stuff are like, would you buy it for $70? So it's kind of weird. It's weird how different it is, right? And a lot of those games are on like Game Pass and stuff now. Fall Guys went on PS Plus almost immediately. It seems like I know this is gonna be shocking, and you're not gonna believe this. I'm gonna go heal save real quick just so bad things don't happen. I know you're not gonna believe this, but it seems like if you want a lot of people to play your game, and you want your community to thrive, and you want your community or your game to be popular, it seems like the best way to do that is to make the game cheaper and give it to more people. It's weird. Like, I don't know, it's strange. Not sure how these things go together, but that's why you see that's why like every 5 minutes I get someone that's like, hey, I have a Final Fantasy 14 3-month free if you want it. Hey, I have a World of Warcraft free membership for 6 months if you want it. That's why in the 90s you couldn't go 2 feet without seeing an AOL disc for 30 hours free AOL. Oh my god. I actually watched a it wasn't a documentary, it was shorter, but I watched a little video about AOL's advertising campaign and how like genius it was. Because it was like we were talking about before, where like PlayStation specifically made the PlayStation a bit cheaper than they could have, because they knew that getting the install base into people's homes is the important thing, and they'll make money off you later. That was AOL's biggest strength. That's what they were all about. They knew that they had something that if they could get into people's houses, they could keep them there, right? So they did like that free AOL desk thing, just millions of those things. Just everywhere they could possibly get them into. They would walk into stores and just put the thing down and be like, just leave this here, like, don't even pay us, like, we're just gonna plop this here. Just a stand of free discs. They did that everywhere, just so they could get AOL's name in people's heads. Because they knew later they could make the money, you know. Okay, we went up about 2 to 3 levels. Luna's HP went up about 200. Refia's a bit more. About 200 HP each is what we got. Not enough to survive, but a bit better. It really sucks that I can't go further in to grind. I mean, I could go a bit further in, but I can't go to the Dark World thing, the Void, because I can't get out. Sorry for the weird noises, like the microphone noises you keep hearing. It's my cord isn't the best, I think. I think it's dying. It's either dying or I just have it stretched out too far, but I keep bumping it and it goes... Yeah, as long as the music's playing, you can't really hear it, but during the load screens, sometimes you can hear a little... People at home are like checking their microphone or their headphone jack, like, why do I keep hearing this noise? It's me, I'm sorry. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about today, just real quick. I had a couple comments asking about supporting the show. You guys, you know how to support because you're here on Twitch, but the people on YouTube, it's a bit harder. And people are asking, like, how can I support because I can't really make to the Twitch streams. Don't feel obligated to support. Like, you watching is enough support, so don't feel like you have to. Just watching the show and even just spreading the word about the show to anyone that you think would enjoy like a super long Let's Play series or some of the other stuff I do is plenty. You don't need to support with your money. For those of you that do want to support with your money but don't know how, I made the Patreon specifically for YouTube viewers. Anyone is welcome to join, but I made it specifically for the YouTube viewers because I felt like that was the easiest way. And I made it like support as much as you want, whatever you can afford, whatever you feel like you know can do. There are higher tiers that have some benefits, but the biggest benefit is the exclusive videos, and I put that on every tier. Thank you so much, Utley. I'll call that out in a second. So every tier gets the exclusive videos, even $1. So you could just do $1 a month and get the exclusive videos. And the exclusive videos are a bunch of stuff like this that just don't really fit on the main channel. We do some like quick dives into games that we might play in the future. Like we just did Vandal Hearts. 2 hours of Vandal Hearts the other day. We did like 2 hours, actually we did 4 hours of Final Fantasy Tactics because it was donated to the show, but I didn't want to do the whole game because we're going to do it potentially for Final Fantathon, so I just did the first couple hours, and that's on the Patreon. There's also a full playthrough of the Scavenger mod, but the beta version, because I didn't want to put it on YouTube because it still had bugs and stuff, but I wanted to do a full playthrough. So we actually did a playthrough of the beta version and actually bug tested as we went. So if you're interested in how like the actual code of Final Fantasy VII works, that playthrough has like a bunch of me like actually going through the code and figuring out what's going on and stuff. And that's a full playthrough of the whole game. It's like 50 episodes. I also did a second playthrough of the mod that the community made just the other day and put that on Patreon. So all that's on Patreon. The link is in the description. Please don't feel obligated to donate. Like, you just watching is enough. But for those people that were asking, like, how do I do it? That's, like, specifically for you. You don't need to try to, like, get on the Twitch when I'm live and donate if that doesn't work for you, like, if the hours don't work for you. That's why I made the Patreon, specifically for people that, like, you can go on there anytime and join at any amount that you feel comfortable with. So that's that.